Hey everyone! So today I'm going to be showing you how to make my delicious ice cream cake that is a giant hit at all the parties that I make it for. So first off, you are going to need some Oreos or any off-brand Oreos. You can pick whatever flavor of Oreos you want. This is just going to add to your cake. I'm just using the normal double stuffed Oreos. And what I'm doing right now is I'm grinding them up in a food processor. And don't worry if you don't have a food processor, you can just use a Ziploc bag with like a rolling pin, throw those cookies inside, and smash them up. And once you're done grinding up those Oreos, or beating them up however process you went about it, you are now going to put them into a casserole dish and place them down, and it is going to form the crust of your ice cream cake. And I do recommend taking your ice cream out of the freezer before you even start this process, so that way your ice cream can start to thaw and become softer, so it is easier to work with. I unfortunately made the mistake of not taking out my ice cream soon enough, so my ice cream wasn't thawed enough, so I actually ended up letting it plop down onto the cake, spreading it a little bit with the spatula, and then coming back to it once it softened some more. One thing you can do while you're waiting for your ice cream to soften some more is you can eat the remaining Oreos that you did not use, and you can even pour milk into the middle tray so it makes it easier to dunk your Oreos and less dishes. I could have waited a little bit longer and let the ice cream thaw a little bit more, but I was unfortunately running out of time for my friend's birthday party. I do highly recommend making this the day before or even 2 days beforehand, because it is ice cream, so it will still taste good a couple days later. Oh, would you look at me in my lovely Spider-Man onesie and my back brace? But what you're going to do is you're going to stick that ice cream cake back into the freezer for about 30 minutes to an hour to let it harden up again. And when the time nears for the cake to be taken out of the freezer, you can now start warming up your hot fudge. The hot fudge that I use, you can either heat it up on the stove top in some simmering water, or you can stick it in the microwave. I personally don't like using my microwave, so I heat it up on the stove. And Brandon here is being such a good boyfriend and opening up the jar for me because I'm super duper weak. And if you have any people that aren't fans of chocolate, you can always substitute the hot fudge for caramel sauce instead. That is actually what I did for my mom's birthday because she cannot have chocolate, which is so sad, I know. So I ended up using a golden Oreo crust and a caramel sauce instead of the normal Oreos and hot fudge. Once your hot fudge is fully melted, you can go ahead and take the ice cream cake out of the freezer, and I do highly recommend to grab your hot fudge with a pot holder because it will be hot. It is made out of glass. That is if you're using the same hot fudge as me. And we are now going to take that and pour it over the cake and spread it so it covers the whole cake layer, and if it mixes up a little bit with the ice cream, that is all okay because it is all going to the same place. ice cream cake is going to go back into the freezer one more time for another 30 minutes to an hour to let the hot fudge cool down and let the ice cream solidify again. Now we're grabbing our Cool Whip, and we have added some drops of food dye into the Cool Whip so that way we can color the Cool Whip to the color that we desire. I am going to be making a grass look on my cake, so that is why I am coloring my Cool Whip a green color. Once your Cool Whip is to your desired color or close enough, you are going to take your ice cream cake out of the freezer and you are now going to apply that Cool Whip on top of the cake. Once you have that Cool Whip all spread out on top, you can add more drops of food coloring on top to give the top layer more color. And on my cake, I am making a road in the middle, so right now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to outline where the road is going to go so I can focus on the parts that aren't the road to make those darker with the food coloring. And then this cake is going to go back into the freezer for another 30 minutes or so to let the Cool Whip harden so the icing goes on the cake easier. I'm now taking a blue gel sparkly icing and I am going to be writing out "Happy Birthday Cam" on the grass parts of my cake. Recommend practicing writing out what you're going to put on the cake on a sheet of paper first, so that way you can also get a rough idea of how you want the letterings to look on the cake. And I end up running out of room on the top part of my cake, so I end up only putting Happy B-Day. I'm now taking one of my piping head nozzles and I am using that to texturize the grass on the cake to give it more of a grassy look. You can do this with a fork as well if you'd like. You can also do this step before you put the letterings down. I just decided I wanted to do that after I already wrote down Happy Birthday Cam. Black icing and outline the road that you have made onto your cake, and you're going to start by outlining the borders of it first and then filling it in the middle. Tip if you want to get more icing out of your tube is you just roll down the top of the icing tube just like you would with your toothpaste. You are now going to take a butter knife or a spatula and start to spread out the icing, and now filling in the whole road. And since the layer beneath it is Cool Whip, there is a high chance of the icing and Cool Whip mixing together, but that's okay because it just gives this road a more textured look. Taking a chopstick, you can use either a kebab stick or a toothpick to do this, and I am actually taking the white Cool Whip that remains on the lid of my Cool Whip container and using that to make the little white dashes in the middle of the road. There you go, that is the finished cake. You can stick that back in the freezer, and right before you serve it, you can stick on some toy cars on top and plop some candles in there, and you got a very happy birthday boy. I was adjusting it and it fell off the mount onto I was adjusting it, trying to fix it, and it just fell right out, and my phone landed.